guys ready for Paul? All right, louder for Paul! Paul! I think it's at the right height. I think we're like the same. You got
So Dr. Tom is standing in front of the class, and he's got this smirk on his face, and it's just like, looking at him is like nails on the blackboard. It's like he's just, I can't do it because I'm not him. First of all, I'm like 4 inches taller than him. But he's just smirking at us. He's got his University of Chicago mug in his hand, and the rest, the class is just sitting there, and he thinks we're a bunch of idiots. And now he knows we're idiots because he gave us this midterm, 160-point midterm, and he's just told us that the high score was a 62. And he's standing there smirking at us because he's from the University of Chicago, and we're just from Washington University in St. Louis. We're his MBA class, and we're a bunch of idiots. And he knows it. He's got data. And he's just staring at us, and I'm like, okay. And he doesn't say anything. And we're all sitting there. He's just waiting. And then he says, so what did you think of the test? And the entire class is like, I'm going to tell you what I thought of your test. But nobody said anything, and he's like, no, I really want to know what you thought of the test. And being the old guy in the class, I was 30, and everybody else was probably in 23, 24, a bunch of engineers coming through. I was a sociology major who had accidentally ended up in business school. I just felt compelled to raise my hand, and I said, Dr. Tom, do you want to know what I thought of your test? And he said, yes, Mr. Topikian, please, by all means, what did you think of it? I don't know if you've ever been on like a high dive, when you stand and you look over the edge and you're about to jump, and once you've jumped, it's like you're gone, you're not going to go back. But it was like the high dive, and it was like, I'm going to tell him what I thought. And I started. I said that was the most demoralizing educational experience that I have ever had in my life. And I just can't understand why anybody would give a class a test where half of the class doesn't even finish the damn thing. And I'm serious. The mean score, 160 was the total that you could have gotten, and the mean score was 30. That's really, really bad. There were people in the class that turned in their blue books with just their names on it. And he's standing there wanting to know what we thought of his test. And I'm thinking, I'm going to go on. And I started to explain to him that, yes, you are a professor. Yes, you've just gotten your doctorate from the University of Chicago. And yes, you are way smarter than the rest of us. But I'm 5'6", you're 5 foot. I didn't say that to him, but it's going through my head. But it was like, how can you think that you are teaching us? How can you think you're an educator? And I started rattling off all of the teachers in my life that I thought had been really, really good teachers. Mrs. Garvin, Mrs. LaFiandra, Dr. Singh, Mr. Morris, my Latin teacher from high school. I was running through all these names, and he's just staring at me like, I don't need to know about all the people that ever taught you. But my point was, they cared about us as students. And when we failed as a class, they knew that they had not done well. And he did not know that. And I was trying to make that point to him. And I was building, and I was on a roll, and I finished my little speech to him by saying, Dr. Tom, you are just a total failure as a teacher. And then I didn't know what else to say. I had been standing up because that's the protocol, and so I sat down, and I was waiting for somebody in the class to say something. Nobody said a word, and Dr. Tom basically said that was extremely disrespectful. Mr. Topikian, leave my class immediately. And at that point in time, yes, he's 5'2", I'm 5'6", he's 26, I'm 30, but he's the professor, and I'm just the little student who's probably ended an academic career. So I got up, left, and I went to the little cafe, waiting for my classmates to come out to find out why the hell somebody didn't at least clap or acknowledge the fact that I was making this, speech, which was conveying what I know they were all thinking. And it was about 15 minutes later when some of my friends started coming in, and one of them came over and said, that was amazing. I've never heard anybody get up in that kind of a situation and make that kind of a statement to somebody. And I really think the way you ended it with the double F alliteration was really, really good. And I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, I don't remember two Fs, and then I realized I had dropped an F-bomb in front of the teacher and failure. I had called him a effing failure. Anyhow, the dean got involved. It was a rather long, drawn-out affair. I found out my grade. I had gotten a 20, so I had done really, really well. But moreover than that, in terms of relative to my peers, when the dean went and started to inquire about my little speech, it was colorful, it was passionate, and it was on point. But nobody remembered the double F alliteration at the end, and so it goes.